I just want to know y'all what y'all thought about the video.
I usually tend not to listen too much to women. Um, from a leadership perspective, I take into consideration what they say, but that's not the determining factor for whether or not I'm gonna make the decision one way or another. Because I think that that's the reason why we in the situation that we in right now is because we had a lot of women with a lot of opinions. So
I mean, yes, it's a woman in that particular clip, but you can find many, many other clips with men stating the same sentiment.
usually they simps, and their mindset is a reflection of the femininity that they advocating for.
Okay. All right.
And y'all right, bar is hell. Like we don't have no bar no more. We don't have no kind of standard or nothing. It's just like let's figure this shit out. Let's fuck everybody. We don't even know how to put on a fucking condom no more. But let's fuck everybody. The STIs and the STDs in Atlanta it actually rivals that of a third world country. One out of every 3 people is walking around with fucking herpes and an STD. But yo, let's just get poly. Let's fuck everybody. Let's have some more kids. Everybody fucking need therapy, but let's have more kids, y'all. Let's combine our resources. When we combine our powers like Voltron and come together, we gonna fix this shit.
Anton, I honestly think that the things you're saying is already being done. There's nothing to start doing. This stuff is already being done. It's just no structure. There's no structure.
I'm not of y'all anymore. I today I divest myself from this culture and this community permanently because this shit is hell. This is absolutely hell.
We're not disagreeing with you. What I'm saying is the stuff that you're stating, it's not something that somebody is trying to make happen. It's just this stuff is already being done. People are already polygamous or whatever.
Okay,
You know,
good
people are already shooting the club up and making kids out of wedlock and all that stuff. Some people are just trying to look at it and say, okay, look, there's no way to stop this. There's never been to stop this for centuries. We just never have been able to get in front of this. How do we figure this out? How do we
women are having children less and less, so it's not the same. That generation is past. They're not having children.
We're having children less and less, but the numbers as far as single mother household is also increasing. So
it's not.
Actually, it is increasing.
Then that means that they will be having. That's another conversation. Go ahead.
Well, I would like to speak to something Anton said earlier. You said that when a man reflects that sentiment, that men are naturally polygynous, that is a reflection of their femininity. So do you think it's feminine for a man to desire or have multiple women?
I don't think it's feminine to have emotions. I think it's feminine to act on your emotions.
That's not what I asked.
It actually answers your question. So I don't think it's feminine to desire or to like anything. I think it's feminine to act on that desire.
So it's feminine for a man to have multiple women.
I think it's feminine to make a decision based off of emotion. Yes.
So the
answer because the reason the context is the reason why he wants multiple women is so he can fuck them. It doesn't actually add to any productivity or it helps actually what's going on with what it is that he's building.
So
you don't think there's no possibility that a man can have or a couple could want a second woman to join the household for reasons other than just sex?
No. I think that men
I disagree. I think
that he wants to fuck her. So wait. You will want another chick in your household other than anything for other reasons, primarily other than sex.
If my woman came to me and said, "Hey,
no, we're not talking about what your woman wants.
I'm gonna answer. If my wife is infertile, for example, then I will want to know. I would be accepting to a conversation that allows another woman to come into the picture for the sake of having helping with babies. If my wife told me, "Hey, I don't want to have any more kids, and I want more kids," and she said, "Hey, look,"
they actually have processes for that where you don't have to actually. She don't actually have to have a kid.
Well, I get it, but I mean, there's other means.
We saw for it. Now what?
But it's an option, though. It's an option.
No, you just want
is
to
it
have
not
a
an
chick
option?
up in the crib so you can fuck on her. That's cool.
I'm just saying there's another option. There's multiple options. You got in vitro, you got all these other stuff.
Yeah, but
Well,
why
that's
not just
expensive. The average person cannot afford that. So why are we trying to have kids the unnatural?
Well, okay, so now we want to talk about it. I'm just talking about people who can afford it.
No,
we could talk about the average person, or we could talk about people who can actually see these things through.
The average person shouldn't even be having kids, to be honest.
But whether you like it or not, the average person is having kids, and the
right.
average
And
person
whether you like it or
it.
not, the average person is not built to even deal with one woman, let alone.
We knew, but there was places.
No. You want to talk about what the average person should be doing, whether you like it or not.
I'm not talking about what the average person should be doing. I'm telling you what the average person is doing.
Right, and the average person is also fucking on more than one person, but it doesn't mean it is right.
I'm not disputing,
and that's the reason why
anybody is doing. What I'm saying is, whenever there was cases where men was sleeping with men and women were sleeping with men, we wasn't talking. Just hear me out. We wasn't talking about what.
Back up. What was that part? What was it? You said where men were sleeping with men and what?
And women were sleeping with men. What they did was they came together and they said, "Hey, look, how about we create some structure in this?" Now you got gay marriage.
When men were sleeping with men.
I don't know. Y'all not following me?
No,
I'm sorry. You tracing back. Me. Listen, I'm tracing. Listen, people, men and women were deviating from the norm way back before we had policies and laws and stuff that allowed them to actually do it with some type of structure. And even then, people are gonna do what they want to do. What I'm saying is, now that you got people that want to have multiple partners, like what in Rhea's case, I'm saying there's no in the nation, from far as my concern. There's no structure for that type of relationship. There's no structure for a man to marry two women, but there is structure for a man to marry a man.
And I don't agree with that either.
I'm not saying we agree with it. I'm saying that these things are happening. I'm saying the way they was happening with the LGBT community, what they did was they added laws and stuff, and they created some type of structure so they can have some type of, laws or regulations to go by.
And guess what it became?
I'm saying there's nothing.
And it became a slippery slope. And now we dealing with all the ramifications. And now they're using that same premise in order to justify how people feel about little kids. They're using that same premise over in California in order to justify bestiality. They're using that same premise in order to allow for men to join women's sports. They're using that same principle in order to allow for when your daughter go to the bathroom, it's a strong possibility that motherfucker identify as a woman, and he can go and use the bathroom in the same space as your little daughter is in. It's a lot of ramifications that come along with it. And just because they did it, don't mean that it's right.
I'm not saying it's right. I'm saying, don't you find it puzzling that a man and a woman, that relationship didn't get amplified by having an extra woman, but the relationship for a man and a man was ushered into the policies and laws.
The reason why it was ushered in is because men like us didn't stand up against it and say, fuck that shit, we not rocking with it. We opened the door and we said, well, everybody is doing it, so we might as well go along with it, because how does it hurt us? Now there's an agenda being pushed, and your kid can't go to school without being indoctrinated by it, because they saying that this is the new norm. And because we don't stand up for the thing that's right, even if we wrong, here's the other side of it. You don't actually have to be right every single time as far as how you doing things, because we've all done things. And it doesn't mean that just because you're wrong and how it is that you've done things or you made a mistake that you can't come back from it, but then still have a moral compass by what you stand on as a foundation, so we can say, listen, I know I crossed the line over here, but damn, I need to get myself back to that thing that I know is the right thing to do. But because we don't fucking stand up and hold the line and say, damn, we can't go all the way that way, what we say is legalize everything and let everything just go to fucking hell.
No, who's saying that?
Society. Because wrong people give in to the narrative because everybody is doing it, and that's what the average is.
The way I say things is the way I operate. And I do it for, like something you stated earlier, I do it for the sake of my children.
And that's why we losing.
I do it for the sake of my children. Hold on. I do it for the sake of my children, to give them a representation how a man's supposed to be, how a father's supposed to be. Everything else is just some bullshit to me, honestly.
We don't stand for nothing, and we weak.
So
and to show how weak we are, we get defeated by everybody. We get defeated by white people, the LGBT, the alphabet community. We get defeated by women and feminism. We get defeated by every fucking thing on the face of the earth. And then we sit here and we complain and we have these conversations about how it is that we fix the Black community. When we can't even stand on one thing, we can't stand on nothing.
We never wanted to. When in the 60s, okay, when we ushered in integration, we decided as a Black people that we didn't want to have a community. We didn't want to have a mutual interest. We had shops, we had brands, we had everything. We had our own buses. We didn't want to ride our buses. We wanted to ride the buses with the white people because we felt that we wasn't able to do it with them, and we were subpar.
I'm ready for for God to just come in, swoop in.
I'm just saying, though. I mean, we
burn this shit to hell, and let me be on my way. This shit is fucked up. Every day it just get worse and worse. Every day. I seen a man after I landed, went and picked up my rental car, came over to the hotel. I ain't even gonna say that online. I can't even. Don't do it.
But I say it all the time, man. We fought for segregation and the schools and all that other stuff, and coming in the same stores, pissing in the same toilets. But we never fought for economic integration.